What's going on? Today I am in the beautiful Outer Banks, North Carolina. I'm using my foil drive Max thanks to Mac kiteboarding, and I'm headed down to really the only breaking wave in the Outer Banks currently, which is the Pier in Duck. It's about a mile and a half from where I was staying, so I headed down there motoring most of the time, but conserving battery and pumping when necessary. So here's me headed down there. Coast Guard! I thought this school of stingrays was pretty neat. There was like 15 of them, and when I came through, they all scurried away really fast. Finally, here's me arriving to the pier. It was actually 1.4 miles later, if it's just a straight shot. I go on the other side of the pier because that's where the waves break when they do. So yeah, here's me pumping over there, looking for my first wave. There was a lot of action in the sky on this day, obviously, as you can see there. After I arrived, I wish I had brought one size up in my wing. The waves weren't quite as big as I was expecting. Obviously, I was not expecting them to be very large at all, but I was hoping for a little bit more than what was had here. This is also a very shallow break. As you can see here, I hit the bottom somewhere right here. And then, in this next clip, I'm standing up. Foil is a couple inches off of the water, so it made it pretty tough to do any sort of jumps or airs, try any of those types of things, because I would probably hit the bottom. But overall, can't complain. I mean, look at how clear this water was with rolling waves coming in. There was a lot of whitewater, so I wanted to really practice my foam bashes and maybe some airs during this session. This wave had my first attempt at an air. Had to kind of outrun the whitewash here, but then I went for the air. Kind of was a little nose heavy and fell to the side. With the size of these waves today, there weren't many people out. I think there was only one other surfer and a paddleboarder at the time I was out there. So I was just making sure to kind of stay out of their way, because I know, I was on the foil drive. I was catching whatever I wanted. They had very limited chances to catch things on this day. So if they were going, I was letting them get the wave they wanted. But obviously neither of them went on this wave. So I took it for myself here. The gear I had during this session was the Appletree Zapple trench board. I had the 5038 liter version of this. I paired this with the foil drive Max with the Max power battery, and I believe the 10 centimeter cable. I always get them confused. It wasn't the shortest, it was the second shortest cable length. I also had the high power motor, and this was all on the Cedrus 80 centimeter mast with the axis adapter. I really like this Cedrus mast because I can try out different wings from different brands with a simple, easy switch of an adapter. On this session, I tried out the Axis Art V2 939 front wing with a skinny tail. I really wish I had the Art V2 999 just to get a little extra float in these waves, get a little more wingtip out just with the bigger span. That's what I'm comfortable with, but we are making the 939 work for these conditions. This clip right here was really my only successful turn in the whitewash. I don't know if you'd really call it a foam bash, but I successfully turned in the whitewash and kept going. I think I kept it a little lower, which helped, but you'll see in the rest of this video when I try to do this many more times, it's unsuccessful, like this clip right here. I try to make the turn. Whitewash kind of throws me high, and I end up breaching the front wing right here. It's just been throwing me off. It's a tough skill to learn, but I'm looking forward to learning how to do it. The wind's blowing from the south, so every time I try to go left, I'm being affected by the wind. It feels like Lake Michigan out here. All right, that last statement was a bit of an exaggeration. This is typical Lake Michigan waves. I'll pop it up on the screen now. complete mashed potato, super windy, can't pump ever because you're going right into the wind. It was windy on this day in the Outer Banks, making it harder to pump and go left, but it certainly wasn't impossible. It was just like I was more used to the clean waves the past few days before this session, so me being on the 939, a little bit of a smaller wing, I was like, oh man, I can't pump to the next wave. So that's why this session I have a lot of just motoring back into the next waves, motoring around. It was kind of just a one wave motor back to the next for each one. I like this clip because it really shows how shallow it is and how close the foil is to the bottom. This being my first time on the 939, I was really enjoying how it was turning in the wave. I wish they were a little bigger so I could do these turns a little better. But I mean, even in this clip, like, I was making good turns. It was feeling good. You know, it wasn't just dropping out of the air. It had great glide in it with these smaller waves and not as much push. So all in all, it felt really good. I was really happy with this clip, cutting into this wave and then doing an air right away right here. Was able to ride away from that one without even having to motor out of it because the wave still had a bunch of push. Obviously tried to beat the whitewash here and then try another one, which I didn't quite get, landed at the back of the wave.
Got a little air. Tried to go for the second, but fell.
Here is another, spoiler alert, foam bash failure. Breached at the top again. Got that wingtip out a little too much from the foam and fell.
Here we go. We're on.
Nope.
I put in a lot of clips to this video of me getting destroyed in the whitewater trying to turn in it. So if you have any tips, leave them in the comments on how I can improve this skill, because clearly right now I need some more practice.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how to do the whitewash. I just got smoked. Had to power out of that jump, but it felt good.
Having the foil drive max has really increased how many waves I get per session. I could have prone this and I would have probably caught 5 waves in the hour, where with the foil drive I caught 40 or 50 waves. It's just insane how much you can catch. So thanks MacKite for loaning me this foil drive max and Zapple board to try.
One more. Right here. Alright, we're going home. I've got not a lot of battery left, going against the wind. Hopefully we make it. We made it back. There's actually quite a few little waves over here, so we're gonna catch some of these. done.